Are the tides turning? Is making up in the future? Well, it seems that Elon Musk has been doing some self-reflection. He says that he's remorseful of some of his ex-posts about President Trump. He writes, "I regret some of my posts about President Trump last week. They went too far."
It's the latest sign of a possible reconciliation between the two men. It's been almost a week since Trump and Musk traded barbs, and pretty heated barbs at that, about each other. The fall-off capped off escalating qualms that Musk had expressed about Trump's sweeping tax and spending package, dubbed the Big Beautiful Bill.
Musk did not specify which of the posts that he was referencing, but the billionaire did delete some of them about Trump, including one saying the president is included in the Epstein files.
A political commentary page, Republicans Against Trump. It seems a rather mild way of describing it in our script. But anyway, Republicans Against Trump say, "So, did you lie when you said Trump was in the Epstein files? Or do you just regret saying it out loud and getting threatened?" What do you think of Republicans Against Trump's argument?
Oh, well, I don't know how seriously we should take them. But look, I do think this is an interesting development in the Elon Musk, Donald Trump seemingly feud. And I actually have to give a lot of credit to Trump here, because typically when these types of blowups happen, when people leave the administration on bad terms, he is quick to go to the personal attacks, balls to the wall, all-out attacks. He did not do that in this case. He was pretty conciliatory towards Elon Musk, would not say anything overtly negative about him, said that it was unfortunate that he was leaving the way that he did, that he didn't appreciate some of the posts. But according to sources we've talked to in and around the White House, Trump was very clear that he has a lot of respect for Elon Musk, that the two are actually really great friends, and he personally directed members of the administration, particularly Vice President J.D. Vance, to not go on offense against Elon, to show him some deference and provide him some grace amid a slurry of really nasty posts about Trump.
So it's no big surprise to anyone who watches this show regularly that I'm not a big Elon Musk fan. I do think he's at least showing some signs of some capacity for perhaps self-reflection there. I also think he's obviously wanting to make up with Trump after, the Epstein files in particular was a pretty inflammatory charge to throw around. Now, when you say about Trump being conciliatory, in one sense, I think that is true in the kinds of comments that he has made to the press when he has been asked about them. But there was the separate debate about whether Musk's companies could somehow lose federal contracts. And one of my main critiques of Musk is that I think he tends to wrap up self-interest in a rather vainglorious or self-glorifying rhetoric about how he's all caring about bigger things, or in this case that he has thought about it and he decides he wants to make up with Trump. I assume that Musk is actually looking after his business interests and realized that he went too far from that perspective.
I think maybe he realized that he's not going to have any friends on the other side of the aisle if he doesn't stay friendly with Republicans. He sort of threatened the idea of pulling all of his money from the Republican midterm electoral efforts and potentially giving that to Democrats instead. But let's be honest, which members of the Democratic Party are going to be happy to accept Elon Musk's help at this point? He's kind of on an island. So I do think that plays into it. I'm sure that the threatening of the government contracts does as well. And there's still this sort of lingering debate over whether or not he was being honest about not liking the EV tax credits being removed through the Big Beautiful Bill. He has said publicly that he's fine with the tax credits being removed, but then also said really all of the subsidies for various kinds of energy should be removed. And then Speaker Johnson's office, sources close to them have said repeatedly that he directly asked the Speaker to keep those in the bill. So there's a lot of debate over how he actually feels about that.
No, absolutely. And there's also, as part of that debate, the idea that, well, I wouldn't ask for incentives for my companies, but it's kind of unfair that other people are getting them, like the implication.
It kind of gives the game away.
It does, yeah, absolutely. I do think that in relation to them both at times showing some conciliatory attitudes toward each other, I just read that as there being a recognition that each one is in a position to hurt the other if it really ended up in a sort of all-out war between them. Because while Trump could hurt Musk in terms of business sense and so forth, I do think that Musk's megaphone, not just in terms of the ownership of X, but also his kind of pretty clear channel to the online, right, has some capacity to muddy up Trump. There was a poll within the past 24 hours suggesting that Musk had lost popularity among Republicans in the wake of all this, which doesn't surprise me very much. I mean, I think that most Republicans' loyalty is to Trump, not to Elon Musk. But
yeah,
it's interesting.
well, that's right. I mean, I think in that sense, Elon needs Trump more than Trump needs Elon because, I mean, we saw what happened when Elon waded into the Wisconsin Supreme Court election. It obviously didn't work out well. It's really Trump that has more political sway than Elon at this point, even with, I think, the online right. And so if he wants some place where he can dump money to try to get certain people elected that he thinks are going to be useful to him, he needs Trump to back that effort.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, my view in terms of the online right is that Musk does have the propensity sometimes to throw these sort of rhetorical bombs at people. And if he really turned that full force on Trump, I don't think it would be like, oh, Trump's popularity is suddenly halved. But I do think that there are particularly sort of younger men, populist men, who revere Musk and whose response to that might be negative.
Yeah, I mean, outside of the sort of threats that each side are making, I do think it's been clear that their friendship ran a lot deeper than a lot of people, particularly the media, realized. There was always a lot of talk about this sort of simmering feud from the beginning of the administration. But the reason that Musk was able to stay as long as he was and sort of have that protection was because of Trump. And because of his protection of Elon Musk. And it was actually other cabinet members that really didn't like him.
I was going to say, it certainly wasn't Musk's popularity with the rest of the cabinet that was protecting him. Moving on, Tulsi Gabbard is taking some heat after posting an ominous video warning of a potential nuclear war. We'll get into that next. Stay with us.